Like we had to stop the show at one point. I think it was in I can't remember, Melbourne or some shit. I think it was the last one. And I think someone fucking threw a bottle on stage and Leaf went mental, stormed off the stage. And then like everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like the music's cut off. And I look over and I can see into the dressing room and I just see Leaf.
Yeah, welcome back to Shotgun the Orcs podcast. It's your boy Tom and Aidan. I hope you're all staying safe and sane during lockdown. Today we welcome another very special guest, writer, editor, radio presenter, family man and DJ for the 4 hours. It's DJ Madnice. How you doing, man?
Yes, very well. Thank you very much for having me on, man. I'm a long-time listener of the show, so it's an honour to finally be on.
That's really it's really good to hear that, man. Having like a grassroots fan on the podcast. And So how have you been holding it down during isolation?
It's been all right. Obviously, I'm not working at the moment. It's been furloughed, which is kind of a blessing in disguise because I can spend a lot more time with the family, which is good and bad, I guess. Nice, you know, because we got a 3-year-old and a baby, so I'm catching a lot of the bits that I would otherwise miss if I was at work.
That's good, man. It's a really good positive spin to kind of put on a situation that's otherwise very negative, you know. So that's good to hear, man. Have you been besides? I'm guessing that family time consumes all of your time at the moment, but do you have any time to kind of watch anything or listen to anything of note?
Yeah, I mean, so we've got a dog, so I take the dog out every day. So I spend about a couple of hours in the park with the dog, just playing through podcasts and new music.
Yeah, man, good stuff. Because you're on a more like a little known podcast, Ramesh Raghunathan's Hip Hop Saved My Life podcast.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That wasn't my finest hour. I'd actually just written off my car about 20 minutes before we went on. So I was a bit like shaking. I was just like, what the fuck's going on, man? So yeah, basically I just sent my car off to the scrapyard. And it was, me and Verbs. It was on a boat, actually, randomly. It was on a fucking boat in St. Catherine's Dock. I think it was owned by one of the Rolling Stones or someone like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Whoa. There was like guitars all in this boat, and there was like a little recording studio in this boat. It was in a yacht. We did it on a yacht. Yeah,
that's mad.
So, I mean, at the time, it was quite a long time ago. It was about 5 years ago or so.
I feel like we need to step up our game a little bit
here.
I mean, I just Verb basically just kind of ran with it. Basically, I was just like, because I was a bit shaken off this instant. I was like, fuck. So, but basically, Verbs just did all the talking. At the end, I just piped up and just.
Yeah.
But you were the catalyst for getting on the show, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah, because I've been chatting to Ramesh on Twitter, and he kind of said, "Do I want to come on?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'll get Verbs on with me as well, just to, he can be my hype man."
Oh man, that's awesome.
But he basically just dominated in the end, so it was all right for me.
Oh man, yeah, we can't up a yacht. I mean, Aidan's got like a fake.
Well, he's on the beach. He's on the beach. Balling, mate. Man.
So Aidan's technically homeless. That's why he's out at the beach at the moment.
Yeah. But 2 meters away from everyone.
Yeah.
2 meters away, of course.
Oh man. So what do you guys think of the new kind of lockdown measures / advice? It's a bit convoluted, a little bit contradictory.
It's not very clear. I mean, they're saying one thing, saying another thing. It's all a bit weird, man. It's all a bit weird. I'm just desperate to see my mates and my family and my kids, my in-laws, my parents haven't seen the kids for 3 months, and it's just my little one's just learned to stand up this last couple of weeks, and she's about to walk, and the grandparents just missed all of that, man. It's a real shame.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I'm just hoping that after it's going to bring a lot of positive energy. I hope people don't take this time for granted, and I hope that there is some good change to come of it. Because people will kind of default back to how they were before. I think it's just human nature, innit? It's human nature.
Yeah. I mean, no, go on.
No. I was just going to say, even now, people are trying to find loopholes in the kind of advice that's being given, and it's just no, man, just use your discretion, use common sense, and just kind of, if you feel that something's not right, then don't do it. Just carry on doing what you're doing.
Yeah. One thing that does upset me about it is that we've seen this huge drop in air pollution, and I saw this before and after of LA, and one of London is just it's insane how clear the air is now. If we could just do that for, I mean, obviously it's never going to fucking happen, but if we could do that for like 1 month a year, just no one does shit for 1 month, and it'll just give the earth a chance to like have a breather again. But obviously that's never going to happen. But it's just we need to use this as an example of what, you know.
Unfortunately, we as a a race, as a species, we are all really, really stupid.
I know.
But did you see the videos of all like the animals and stuff as well from a little while ago? So it's just kind of different.
I've seen like goats roaming.
There's streets in Wales and stuff. And it's like wild boars in Paris and shit like that. It's madness, man. But so your social media game's pretty strong, man. Like on Instagram, just having a flick through some of your photos. Just speaking of animals, like fat animals. Got like a fat bear and like a fat squirrel on there, and it's just so random, but like I was really rating it. But there was that post that you shared recently, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before, and it was one of the rallies going on in America at the moment, and it just said on the banner like COVID is fake and gay, and I mean it was just like what the fuck.
America has taken a wrong turn somewhere down the line, man. Sure. And like basically Trump is just like driving this division, and it's just like there's this like the libtards versus it's just it's painful. It's painful.
It's infuriating, isn't it?
It is infuriating.
Do you reckon he'll do another term after this?
I hate to say it, but I think he will. Yeah. I kind of want him to get assassinated a little bit. I mean, I don't wish death on anyone, but I mean, he needs to fucking go, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, one way or another, man. He's tapping into this podcast. He's a grassroots fan as well. Can you imagine, man? Because he famously is obsessed with anyone saying negative things about him, isn't he? He's like
a narcissist. Yeah,
exactly, man. Like if you're in a position like that, like most politicians and most celebrities of that kind of stature, just they need to build up some kind of like resistance to it. But he just, it wouldn't surprise me if he just did a fucking Jay and Silent Bob and started like knocking on people's doors and having people beaten up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should probably hear the doorbell ring in a minute, man.
But no, that picture, I mean, I was someone sent it to me on WhatsApp, and it was in a group of my mates, and we were just debating whether it was like satire or not. So it's like there's a banner in the back. There's like a Nazi banner, and there's someone, I can't see who it is. They've got like a Hitler moustache, and it says something. I can't see the face, so I don't know what it's about. But yeah, it's a weird picture, man. COVID is fake and gay. It's just like,
I know, man, absolutely ridiculous. But I'm hoping that it is satire. But social media's just been kind of rife with random like stuff at the moment. Did you see that Asim Chowdhury's little video that he did today?
What was that about again? I saw something he did.
It was amazing.
What was it?
It was like he was playing this like psychopath painting a picture, and he was
I didn't see that.
Called and his name was Raj, and he was just saying about like, oh, my mummy doesn't let me love anyone, and like, why can't I find love? And it was so funny, man. Honestly, I was in tears. Check that out. It was fucking funny. So besides kind of like taking a dog for a walk and stuff and family life, have you managed to kind of listen to any music at the moment, man?
I've actually been getting back into grime quite a lot since I've got I just finally got a Spotify about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe a little bit more actually, 6 months ago. But yeah, just the playlist that it throws up, man, is so good. So yeah, I mean, I was big into grime when I was at uni in like 2003, 2004 when grime really first started popping up. I was big into grime, and I kind of fell out of love with it when UK hip hop kind of had a resurgence, and we were kind of riding that. But yeah, since Spotify's come around, I've been massively back into grime as well, like D-Double, Kano, getting back into all the kings, man.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah.
So listening to like the older stuff that you were initially into, or the new stuff as well?
Just new grime, really, new grime. Because I haven't revisited any of the older stuff, man.
Because Skepta released an album, didn't he, recently? I haven't heard it yet, though.
Yeah, he did. Oh shit, who was the album with? Fuck. It was with Chipmunk and someone else. I can't remember the life.
What's his name?
I'm not really feeling Chipmunk, to be honest.
Nah.
Chip, should we say?
Nah,
not at all. His voice, it sounds like a little boy. It's weird.
I get what you mean.
Just something about his cadence that I can't get into.
There's certain tracks that I like of this, but then there's a lot of tracks where it's just sort of very samey. There's just no sort of development there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you first, obviously the cliche question, how did you get into hip hop? But more specifically, how did you get into DJing, man?
How I got into hip hop was in about 1990, 91. My dad got cable TV, and I used to go around to his house every weekend, and there was a program called The Box, which still exists, but it's like a completely different version of itself. So it used to be like a screen with loads of little screens all the way around the outside, and you could call up and like request one of the videos.
I remember it, man, unfortunately.
So that was like early 90s. And my dad used to just like force fed me, like, he's a blues and rock guitarist, so nice. It was often a lot of like, rock in the house and blues and soul. But yeah, as soon as I discovered The Box, I was just like, wow, there's something else out there that's not rock or blues. So yeah, just much to my dad's dismay, I was just like glued to The Box like 24/7. I was like, shit, hip hop, this is the shit. So I was like 10 or 11 years old, and I was like, oh my god.
Was there a gateway record for you?
Yeah, it was actually yeah. There was a song called "Rump Shaker" by Rex and Effect.
Right. Oh man,
the videos on the beach. Oh my god, man! I think it's what a fucking tune, man! What a tune.
Do you still bump that today?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. I've been trying to find it on vinyl. I do still listen to that. But yeah, that was the tune that just like it just takes me straight back to takes me back that time, man. So yeah, then around then I was like, when I was about 11 or 12, I went on a school trip, and my mate had a Gravediggers cassette that had just come out. So it was in 1994. Gravediggers had just dropped 6 Feet Deep, and I'd only really heard like commercial hip hop at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And he played me this tape, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is like the most gutter, like gully hip hop you can like. It's like, it was horror, it was like Gravediggers was like horrorcore shit, and I was like, oh my god. So it's not, so that kind of like opened me up to like underground hip hop, really. And then I got into like Cypress Hill. I wouldn't want my 11-year-old listening to Gravediggers, man. I don't know what my mate was doing with that tape. So yeah, then I got into like Cypress Hill, Pete Rock, Gangstar, and then my mate, when I was about 14 or 15, my mate lent me a DJ Rectangle tape, and it just blew my mind, man. It was like I was hearing all these like scratching and cutting and mixing for the first time, because I only heard albums up to that point. And this was like a proper mixtape, and I was just like, holy shit, how was he doing that? And I was like, in my head, I knew there was like 2 decks. That was literally all I knew. I was like 14. I was just like obsessed with this tape, and I used to listen to it over and over and over again. I was like, how the fuck is he doing it? How the fuck is he doing it?
So were you naturally drawn towards more of the sound of the music than the lyrics?
Yeah. I'd say so. Yeah, the beats, and especially once I heard this tape, I was like blending 2 songs together just blew my mind. I was like, wait, you can turn 2 songs into one song. I was like, what? How? So then I was obsessed with that. So yeah, I lost my train of thought then.
Sorry, man.
That's all right. So yeah, after that tape, then I actually met Fliptrix as a teenager. I still wasn't DJing at this point, so I met Fliptrix when I was about 16. Still into hip hop. I just met Fliptrix skating around my area. He was a couple of years younger than me, and then I started DJing. He started rapping around the same time, and we just kind of became a little like little unit. He was the rapper, I was the DJ.
Oh, I see, man. Did you ever bar yourself? Did you ever kind of pen any bars or?
Not seriously. No, not seriously.
Oh man,
no, I wrote a few bars down, but
I think anyone who's kind of into hip hop in some capacity has tried it at some point,
Yeah, no, I never took it seriously.
Do you remember any of the bars that you penned back in the day?
Not going to read.
Not fit for public consumption, man.
No.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
So did you get a set of decks to then start DJing?
Yeah, so I think I must have been about 17 when I got my first decks. Maybe 16 or 17. All of my mates were into drum and bass at the time, and a couple of my mates were DJing drum and bass, and one of them had Technics, and I was like begging my parents for a pair of Technics. Obviously, they're like fucking £700, so I'm not going to get those. So I got these like shitty belt drive I can't remember what make they were. They were from Richer Sounds, like not Cambridge Audio, but they were like, oh, God, like Citronic or some shit like that. They were and yeah, just used to just practice mixing on that. I mean, they were belt drive, you know what I mean? You can't really get that far with belt drive. But yeah, I was just obsessed with this DJ Rectangle tape. We used to listen to it all the time, and then like practice the scratches I'd heard on the tape. But I didn't even know what a scratch vinyl was. I didn't even have a scratch vinyl. Yeah, I was just like completely amateur, like, you know, bedroom idiot. Basically, didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Got to start somewhere, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, just practice, man. Practice. So I just spent hours and hours in my bedroom just mixing like the same like 10 records, like all into each other, like to see what I could do. And then the collection just grew and grew and grew.
Yeah, man. So that was the early days before you. So you practiced with all the records in your room before you met Flippers, and then you two. Or was this during the same time?
Around the same time, actually. Yeah. But I was
Okay.
about 16, 17, 18 around this point. And yeah, Flipper's about 4 years younger than me, I think.
So
he was just a little kid I met skating around my area in Herne Hill.
that's it, man.
Yeah, we'd just go skating together, me, him, and his little brother.
Oh, nice, man.
When you first started, did you have a DJ name, or did you?
I've been through a few, man. There was,
Go on.
oh man, no, you got me. Oh shit, there was Fresh to Death, which is just mega cheesy, never fresh.
It's well 80s, isn't it? Fresh to death.
Yeah. Oh god, I can't remember. Yeah, I was fresh to death for quite a while, all through uni. And then yeah, I don't know where Madnice came from actually. I can't remember how I got that, but it's been that for, I don't know, 20 years or something.
It's got a good ring to it though, man.
Yeah.
So when you first linked Fliptrix, then obviously you were kind of making music together for a little while, but kind of semi-seriously, I guess, or like did you land any gigs at the time, or was it mainly just kind of...
No, it was house parties, man. We were just playing house parties.
Yeah.
A lot of his friends were just, you know, always massively into it. We'd just go and rock a house party. Yeah, I'd DJ. Sometimes I can't remember if I took my decks or not. Often there'd be decks there. So we'd take, you know, a big bag of vinyl. We'd practice all day, ran it in his spare room or some shit. And then we'd, you know, go and do the house party. And the house party just turned into like a club night. I can't remember I remember the first time I got paid for DJing, and it was like 30 quid or something. And I was just like, what? What do you mean? You're going to pay me for this shit? It was just like, blew my mind. I was like, whoa, wait, we should fucking pursue this.
Definitely, man. So did you kind of like, so you're making music with Fliptrix, and then the 4 hours came later on down the line.
Oh, yeah.
Is it something...
I wasn't actually making music with him at the time. We were just like doing... Him and his little brother were recording. His brother's was called Chapter.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was like Chapter's beats, and Fliptrix would just like spit on them. I've still got some of those old recordings from like the late 90s, early 2000s, man. They're like... I'd love to hear them. They're golden, mate. They're golden.
You went to school. You went to school with Verb as well, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's right. So I went to one school, and then Xander was a couple of years below me, and then I left and went to a different school for sixth form where Verbs was. He was in the year above me, but I wasn't actually mates with him at school. In about 2004, me and Fliptrix had a show in Clapham supporting Verb T. And we knew who Verb T was because he was like quite well established in the UK scene. And but I just didn't realise, I didn't know what Verb T looked like at the time. This is like, you know, internet semi-early days. You know, I have a picture of Verb T when I was like, you know, 22 or something. And I was going to the toilet in this bar, and Verbs was coming out, and I was like, oh, didn't you guys go to my school? Like, yeah, I remember you. And I was like, oh, what's your name? He was like, oh, I'm Tom. I'm Verb T. I'm like, oh, you're Verb T. We're supporting you. And yeah, that was I think I was like 2004. And then from then, like he kind of like took Flips under his wing. And yeah, they just like, then we went from like a two into a 3. And then we all started doing shows together.
Oh, it's crazy, man. And then how did that evolve into the 4 hours, like with BVA and Leaf Dog?
That came about 5 years later, maybe 5 or 6 years later. I think they met through just like the festival circuit. I think. I I can't remember the first time I met Leaf and Beaver, actually. I honestly can't remember the first time, but because basically Xander lived down in Brighton, I was still in London at the time. So, we weren't like hanging out all the time. So Xander was doing his own little thing. I was doing my thing in London, and we'd meet up for shows, but like we weren't like socializing a lot. So I think he met the other OWLS like without me, basically. I wasn't around for the big meeting.
Yeah, man. But I mean, obviously, you guys formed, and 4 Hours formed, and since then, like when Verb spoke to us, he just said he couldn't believe the initial reception that they had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the first album that dropped, and then the live shows and the energy that it kind of attracted. He was kind of like overwhelmed by it. It was just like, what the fuck's happening? This is insane.
Yeah, it was. It really was, man. It was kind of unexpected. I mean, I knew there was like the first few shows we did. I mean, we didn't practice or anything. There was never any like rehearsal. It was just like, we're just going to do shows. I mean, we didn't start doing like massive shows. It started like, I can't even remember. It might have been like a small festival or some shit like that, or maybe a small club down in Brighton. But yeah, we all just like kind of became pals and just started getting bigger and bigger shows. But it was like, I remember the first few shows we did, it was just like, holy shit, people are really feeling this, man. Like, because there wasn't really anything happening like that at that time. It was like 2010. There wasn't really anything like, there wasn't any like good crews popping off at the time. So filled a hole, I think.
It's that very like kind of traditional like boom bap hip hop, and it's done really, really well, and it's been kind of consistent through the last like 3 projects as well. Obviously, Nocturnal Instinct dropped a few weeks ago, and it's a really, really solid album. Obviously, some features on there are crazy as well. Airstrike, Varade the Rugged Man, and you got like Rock Marcy on there, and
that Airstrike was actually recorded quite a long time ago. I think it was actually for the last album. But it just didn't make the cut for one reason or another. I can't remember what the reason was, but yeah, they've been sitting on that for a good number of years, man.
I think I remember Flip Trick saying that on Hip Hop Saved My Life as well, that he recorded the track with Rugged Man, and Ramesh was like, "What the fuck? Like, what's going on with that?" So yeah, it did kind of ring a bell when it was announced for the album. But the video that dropped for that was crazy as well.
Yeah, it was good, man. Yeah.
Do you think, obviously the last few videos have all been kind of animated videos? Is that like a deliberate choice based on the whole lockdown situation, or is it kind of?
I think the last one has been, but one like not all of the members like doing the videos. Basically, I won't say who, but one of them doesn't like doing. One of them doesn't like just getting in front of the camera and just prancing around, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's interesting for a rapper, though, isn't it? Like,
exactly. For such an extrovert as well.
Yeah. That's crazy. But no, man. I mean, that's completely fair enough, and I think there's a lot to be said for like animated visual content. It gives kind of another dimension to the music as well. Yeah. I think it works in this case, especially with like the concept of like the 4 Hours, being alter egos. I think it works.
And also, everyone lives in different areas in England as well, so it's quite hard to get everyone together if it's not for a show. I mean, recording the album took fucking 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, try.
Yeah, man. But obviously, like the single 100% of DJ Premier dropped, and Think Twice dropped a few years ago on the previous album as well. So it's not the first time they've collaborated with him. So how did those collaborations come about, man?
Think Twice, Leaf based. It's all down to Leaf, man. Leaf is like a king hustler, man. He's just like relentless. He must have pissed off a lot of people just from like relentlessly emailing him.
Yeah,
like he was just, he was like a young, hungry producer, and we literally somehow. Don't know how the fuck he does it, but he gets.
So like Homer Simpson with that bird that just like taps the Y key, send.
Yeah, he literally just like he will somehow hustle an email through management, like some rapper's manager's email, or he'll get the direct email for a rapper and will just pepper their inbox with beats until they're just like, all right, I'll fucking do it. Literally, that's literally how he does it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. He's just like king hustler, man. But now he's got a massive name for himself, and he's just killing it, man. Now he has like people queuing up to work with him, man.
That's how you have to do it, though, man. You have to get in people's faces and stuff, especially if you feel that you're like worth it and you're talented enough and you got something to say, it's not like, I mean, obviously a lot of people probably do the same who don't have that kind of talent, you know?
Yeah.
So he's got that to back it up.
Exactly. Yeah. But the Primo thing, he somehow got I think he got Primo's manager's email through, who was it? It was someone like Q Unique or Vinny Paz or someone like that, someone of like that ilk, and somehow got hold of Primo and just they just kind of explained who he was, what they're doing, and he got a beat off him, man. And I remember when the beat finally came through, they were waiting like a couple of weeks, and we were actually on our way to Outlook Festival, and we were all waiting at the airport, clearing up to get on the aeroplane, and Leaf sort of suddenly is like, Primo sent the beat. So we were all like huddling around, taking turns with the headphones and shit. What year was that? That was, when did the last album come out? 2000 and
it was 5 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah, 2015. So yeah, probably would have been that summer. And so we were queuing up to get on the airplane, and the beat comes through, and it was kind of a mixed reception, man. Like 2 of them were into it, 2 of them wasn't.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't. I won't say who wasn't, but I mean, I'm happy to say I wasn't really feeling it. It wasn't like when you think, oh shit, we got Primo beat. You want it to be like that neck snapper, like ooh, with that Primo snare and shit.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, man, I don't think this is the one, man. And it was kind of generally agreed all together, like.
It's a throwaway beat kind of thing.
Well, no, it wasn't a throwaway beat, but it wasn't what they were looking for. It wasn't exactly what. It wasn't like that head nod Primo goodness that they really wanted. I mean, Leaf basically had to go back to Primo and say like, your beat's not good enough, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I rate that, though.
Amazing.
Imagine having to do that. Imagine having to say, sorry, mate. Sorry, DJ Premier, king of hip hop. You just, that was.
Yeah.
How did he respond to that? Like, did he
fucking safe? He was safe as fuck, man. Because like him and Leaf had built up a good rapport. Yeah. By that point, and he said, look, I want you to be happy with the beat. I totally get it, and I'm sure he respected Lee for saying, like, this isn't quite what we're looking for.
100%, man.
So yeah, and then he sent another beat, and that was Think Twice, and it was 10 times better. The original beat was actually taken. We then heard it a couple of months later by someone else. I'm not going to say who it was. It was a well-known American rapper. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
It was and I was like, you took the shit, you were.
Yeah, they didn't have the balls to say that they didn't like it. But then I guess it's subjective, man. But I mean, if all of you weren't feeling it, then it must have been kind of I'll give them this one and see what they feel. Maybe it was kind of like. It was something he was experimenting with, and he was using to test the water.
He didn't know Leaf at that point that well. He didn't know the OWLS reputation. He didn't know how much it was going to pop as well. Like that. I mean, the Think Twice video was getting like I don't know how many more times views than even like the Prime stuff that he dropped like a week or two later. Prime dropped, and the OWLS like beating him in views on Primo's own shit, and it's just like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was well worth it in the end.
Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
How's the obviously like when you guys kind of the 4 Hours forms and you started touring, Europe and the world and all of that kind of stuff, and Europe and the world. You started touring the world and stuff. So you must have kind of like had some quite like wild experiences on tour. Is there any kind of highlights or any stories you wish to divulge?
What happens on the road stays on the road. No, I'm just unbelievably grateful that I've been like taken along for the ride, man. I'm not one of the 4 Hours. I'm like Bez with Dex, basically. I'm like, I'm just kind of like ridden the OWLS coattails to fame, which I'm unbelievably grateful for, man. I've taken like, we've been around the whole world, been to Australia, we've been to like pretty much every country in Europe, Eastern Europe. We just met so many safe people. We've had some crazy old times. Do you know what I mean? It's just like we played to like people that you just, it's just been an incredible experience. The last 10 years has just been like, and it's just been getting bigger and bigger as well. Like, I'm so grateful for the whole thing, really.
Who's showing the most love?
I was going to say, High Focus in like UK hip hop in general, they do have quite a big following in Australia, don't they?
Yeah, mate. We're getting mobbed and shit in Australia. Like, no, seriously, like UK hip hop, they're like treated like pop stars in Australia, mate.
That's mad, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, it's bonkers, mate. It's proper mad.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man.
You just love it.
Yeah, it's they're a weird old bunch out in Australia, man. They're a weird old bunch. No, they're crazy fun. There was like fights breaking out at every show. I can't remember how many shows we did, like 7 or 8 shows. And there was like proper fights at every single show in Australia. Like people get bottled, people get punched. Like the mosh pit just gets out of control, and then there's just a fucking massive fight. Like we had to stop the show at one point. I think it was in I can't remember, Melbourne or some shit. I think it was the last one. And I think someone fucking threw a bottle on stage, and Leaf went mental, stormed off the stage, and then like everyone's just like, "What the fuck?" Like the music's cut off, and I look over and I can see it's the dressing room, and I just see Leaf just fucking throwing a chair across the room, like, oh shit. And Leaf just going mental in the dressing room. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like the bloke who threw the bottle was just getting fucking battered at the back of the hole. I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening, man."
That's amazing, though, man. That's like back to the kind of 90s, like MOD
yeah.
Kind of how a hip hop gig should be. Arguably. Oh, that's crazy, man. So,
but yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I'd say countries like Hungary, they fucking love it, man. Like they are so, like, they just respect the culture, man. Like the proper boom bap. They just like, they really, really respect the culture, and they represent it hard. Like there's like, you know, like people break dancing at the shows. There's like graffiti walls outside. It's like a proper jam, and you're like stepping into a proper jam. There's no like, and there's no one too cool for it as well. Like if you do a show in London, there's just like 100 guys just like standing there. You're lucky to get a head nod sometimes. You go to a country like Hungary or Italy, or they're fucking going for it, man. There's no like pretentiousness at all.
Yeah,
they're so into it, and half of them would travel for like 2 hours, 3 hours to see you as well. So
I see, man.
Yeah.
So Greece as well. That's quite a big one,
Greece
right?
is a good one. Yeah. Athens. We played Athens a few times, and Thessaloniki. Better get that right.
Oh yeah. That sounds right. It sounds right.
Something like that.
Right, fact checking. Yeah. So like, obviously, you know, without kind of divulging anything, well, you can if you want, but so is there, when you're touring with the rest of the OWLS, right? Who's the biggest diva of the 4?
Oh man, you can't ask him that.
It sounds like it sounds like you've already told us.
Yeah, it's got to be Leaf, man. I'm sorry, Leaf, brother. I love you, but yeah, he's right on Leaf.
That's cool, man. But that's hip hop in its essence, isn't it, man? Exactly. Like all these kind of characters and stuff back in the day, you always read about, you know, their kind of exploits and their you know, kind of wild ways and stuff. I really rate that, man. I think you need someone in your crew like that.
He's just got a huge love for the culture there as well, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
You see him on social media, he loves it so much.
He literally lives for it. Like I've never known someone who is so truly about one thing, and he literally lives and breathes hip hop. It's unbelievable. It's fucking unbelievable. Like from the minute he wakes up, he's just like, he'll churn out like 20 beats in a day, more sometimes.
Wow,
it's crazy. Yeah, he's literally just doing it all day long.
It's crazy, man.
Practicing.
Because he's just started like some kind of like beat school, hasn't he? Like a digital beat school or something.
I haven't spoken to him about that. I don't know what he's doing with that. But he's also started RLD skateboards as well.
Really?
I saw that the other day,
yeah. I mean, he's just like, when he's not doing shows, he literally just skates all day. He's living the fucking dream, basically. Like he's making loads of money from hip hop and then just skateboarding. It's just like,
oh man,
he's killing it. He's fucking killing it.
That's fair play. I mean, if you're like, if you're living and breathing hip hop, then like, why not, man? If you have the means to do that, and that's what you love,
exactly. He's literally just doing he loves hip hop, making a good living from that, and then he just wants to skate in his spare time because he fucking loves skating. Like, you've got to rate that. I mean, what a fucking don! What a don! Like, you know what I mean? There are very few people who can say they do that, like, and they make a living from it.
Yeah, it's like the definition of success, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Yeah.
So jealous.
So the 4 OWLS latest album, obviously that just dropped, and that's dropped like in the midst of lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, obviously sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like, that must have been quite a sort of difficult decision or thought about to still go and release it? Because normally an album is hopefully followed by, you know, a launch party and like a big tour and everything like that. What was the discussion and thoughts around that?
Well, I mean, it was all, you know, Xander Fliptrix just sort of sorted it all basically. I mean, I'm not privy to the major decisions like that. That's done between the four of them. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, obviously we can't do a tour. We had like 16, you know, I think in February we confirmed like 16, 17 shows all around the UK and Europe.
Yeah.
And there would have been more. We'd have done all the festivals. We just got booked for our first Glastonbury. Yeah, so that was a bit of a fucking kick in the teeth, and that was also like money I was banking on as well.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, just like having that just like ripped from underneath us, that was a real bitch. And it's kind of took the I don't know how it's affected sales of the album, but you know, they sell a lot of merch at the shows. So, I mean, you know, merch. You know, I'm sure the merch will be down this year. But yeah, it's kind of taking the wind out of the sails a little bit. It's such a shame because it's been 5 years in the making.
Yeah,
and it's just like, the album's out. Stay at home. You can listen to it. Don't come and see it.
Yeah.
You never know, though, man. It might be obviously the whole live show thing is a negative, obviously. But it might give more people more time to kind of digest it properly.
Exactly. I mean, we haven't stopped touring the last album for the last 5 years. We were still doing shows up until I can't remember when the last show was. I think it was like January. We had a show in. I can't remember. It's like Italy or somewhere like that.
Of course, you were. Yeah.
I can't remember where it was. It all kind of blurs into one a little bit. But we've been touring the first two albums non-stop. Literally, it hasn't stopped for like 5 years, and they haven't even released any new material. It's crazy.
That's good though, man. That's
exactly. Yeah.
Let's hope this one trend's the same.
Plan on hitting it hard when it all blows over.
Yeah. Definitely. We've got to, man. I'm sure there'll be another Australia tour in the works. That was wicked, but it was hard, like, because I just had a baby just when the Australia tour kicked off. I left like a wife with a 10-week-old baby or 12-week-old baby. I know that was pretty hard. But, you know, I was Skyping every day.
You're a brave man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, now Xander's just had a baby. Fliptrix just had a baby. Verb's got 4 kids, so I don't know how the hell his partner feels about him going away the whole time. But yeah, I mean, it will definitely be hitting the road again for sure. I mean, you know, we had like 16, 17 shows like in the bag, like 100% confirmed. There was like Dublin, like all around the UK. I think like Romania, a couple, like France and shit. But yeah, we'll definitely be back on the road, man. I can't wait.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
When you were DJing, was there any? Obviously, being a DJ, there are going to be times where you face kind of like, even being a podcast, you're going to face kind of technical difficulties and issues from time to time. So is there any times in particular that you've had to kind of improvise or think on your feet when that's happened?
Yeah, there have been some fucking horrible, chilling, sweaty, pooey moments, mate. Like, it all started, mate. I'll tell you who it's Serato's fault. It's fucking Serato, mate. Serato, basically, when we made the transition, or I made the transition from vinyl to Serato, that's when it started going tits up, basically, because like instead of just like a straight up vinyl, you then got to get laptop. You got the time code records. You got the Serato box. There's like a million different little connections, so there could be like a problem, like with when you put a record on. There's the needle and the mixer and the speakers, and that's literally it. With Serato, you've got the needle, the 8 connections going into the box. You've got all the connections going into the mixer. You've then got like there could be there's just a million things that can go wrong. Your computer could be glitching out or some shit like that. There's so many things that can. There's literally like 20 different things that can fuck up for you, basically. So yeah, there've been some horrible moments. The one that springs to mind is it wasn't actually Serato based. We've had a lot of Serato based ones where like, you know, one deck fucks up in the club, so I'm just doing the whole show off one deck, which doesn't look great. No one fucking notices, but it's just like I can't queue up the next track and shit. So it's just like it's not favourable, really.
You can't bring your like A game, can you? You can't.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the worst time. Oh God, it's just makes me fucking shudder just thinking about it. We were doing a show about 2 years ago. We were doing a show in Switzerland, a festival, and we were on after Havoc from Mobb Deep. Yeah, so we were sandwiched between Havoc and Ghostface Killer. Right? So we had half an hour. Havoc had half an hour. We had half an hour, and then Ghostface had half an hour. Yeah. And it was like a tight schedule, and the stage manager was there like, right, you got to go on at this time, you're getting off at that time. Right, okay, cool. So we were watching Havoc from the side of the stage, and he's going through all the bangers and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the shit. I just got a new MacBook Pro, yeah. Well, I stupidly got a refurbished one, and it still had like a flash hard drive in it, not a solid state drive. So I'm there at the side of the stage, like whiling out to all the bangers and shit with a laptop under my arm. Like I start shaking the laptop around, like just not even thinking, because I was fucking drunk, and I'm like shaking the laptop around. And then Havoc goes off. The stage manager's like, right, get on, do the changeover. And I opened up the laptop, and I've got a white screen, not even the Apple, and then just like the loading bar, and then it's not moving. It's not moving.
Man.
And then there's like 1,000 Swiss like hip hop kids staring at you, waiting for the fucking music to start.
Start beatboxing.
Yeah, literally. I've got Xander behind me going, "Come on, man, play the first tune." I'm like, shit. And like, yeah, so I've got a white screen, not even the Apple logo. And then it's literally the bar is going up like 1 millimeter every 2 minutes. It's just not fucking moving. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? I basically like fucked the hard drive from shaking it and whiling out. And I'm like, just literally, I'm like sweating, like torrential, just pouring down my face at that point. And it's just like silence. And then fucking DJ LES, Havoc's DJ, yeah, this dude from New York. He was just like packing up his bag, and I'm like, he's like, why aren't you playing the fucking songs? I'm like, look at my laptop. He's like, oh shit. Luckily I had the set on a USB, and he was like, after like 10 minutes of just like sweat pouring down my face and my fully shit my pants, Xander's behind me like going, what the fuck are you doing? Like Xander's getting pissed off, everyone's getting pissed off, all the crowd are like going, what the fuck? DJ LES was just like, look, use my laptop, I'll hook you up. So I plugged my USB into his laptop, finally got it running, but it was just like,
oh man,
it was literally the longest. It was probably about 10 minutes, man. But it was eating into our set, because it's not like we could eat into Ghostface Killer's set.
Yeah.
Ghostface is going on at like 11 or whatever. So yeah, that was fucking ugly, man. That was one of the worst times of my life, literally.
Man, it's making me anxious just listening to your story, man. Like, fair play for holding it down. Like, I'd be out of there, man.
Literally, the very next day, I upgraded my computer. I got a brand new SSD hard drive. I now go to shows with like 2 USBs, the set on CDs, tape, everything. Like that will never happen to me again. Basically, it was the most fucking terrifying moment of my life.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
But it kind of begs the question, doesn't it? Like you were saying, when it was just kind of vinyl, you just had your record player's speaker. Exactly. It kind of begs the question, if it ain't broke, why fix it? But is it because of the quality of the sound and I suppose if it fucks up with that, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can go and rock a house party, you could literally do a 24-hour set, and all you need is a laptop and your Serato box. Yeah. And the 2 vinyls, obviously. But like, you know, I used to DJ in a shop in Covent Garden on Saturday afternoons, and I would literally take 3 crates of vinyl down there for like a 4-hour set. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. Just take fucking hours, and you're sweating shit by the time you get to
I can't believe that, man.
It has made things a lot easier, but at the same time, there's just always some fuckeries with Serato. Every DJ listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm sure we'll be nodding at this point. Every DJ has had Serato fuck up at one point or another.
Oh man, crazy. So as a DJ, you must be sitting on a ton of vinyl, like in your personal collection.
Yeah, I actually just got rid of a load of vinyl. Well, I haven't got rid of it yet. It's up in the attic now. Just making the ceiling just like. But yeah, I decided to just get rid of all my singles, all my old singles. Just like I've got loads of old, like, because I used to play a lot in clubs. I've got loads of old like Buster, Method Man, Missy, Nas, all that kind of stuff. All the singles. It's just like I can't be fucked to play a single now.
Yeah.
If I'll put on an album at home, I can't be fucked to like change it every 2 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm just taking all the singles out of the collection. So yeah, I've just got albums now. I don't know what I'll do with them. give them to a mate or flog them, or I don't know what I'll do. Yeah.
What's the most like obscure records in your collection at the moment?
I stumbled across a Warriors soundtrack the other day.
No way, really?
Yeah, it's sick. It's fucking sick. Well, there's a couple
from the movie. What, the movie?
Yeah. The soundtrack. Yeah. So it's got the like a poster on the front. I've got another one here. Check that bad boy out.
Yeah. Is that the bar, man?
Deep Trouble.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've actually got two of those. I don't know where the fuck the other one came from. But yeah, I've been getting mad into, obviously the last like 5-6 years or so, I've been getting into all like the West Side Gun, Conway shit. We're trying to buy up a lot of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, as far as obscure records go, I can't really think, man. A lot of like old UK stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff I just can't bring myself to get rid of, basically. I'll never even play them again, but I just can't, I can't.
I hear that, man. I mean, they're rarer as well. A lot of these albums as well. Yeah, exactly. I think there's more of this kind of sentimental value well associated with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think that's cool. I think like obviously having that kind of eclectic taste in music must all stem from your kind of background and appreciation growing up with these different records and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever kind of try your hand at production as well? Or was it mainly just the DJing side of things?
Yeah, I did. I was actually in like a little production crew called Extra to Less with these two guys, a producer called Rebs, who's done stuff with Flip Tricks, and another guy called Max. And we had a little production crew called Extra to Less. I mean, nothing really ever came of it. It was just like us just going around to each other's houses and getting stoned and making beats and shit. But we never actually released anything. Oh, we had a couple of things on Flip Tricks' album. But yeah, nothing really ever came of it. But yeah, I mean, I've always... I've never really took production that seriously. I've always enjoyed it. And I've always like executive produced. Like I'll go into my mates and be like, just try that and do that and put that there. Is that, that sounds right. So I mean, I've got a good ear for it, but just the technical knowledge, I'm a bit.
Yeah, man. Who did you kind of like derive inspiration from other DJs? I mean, obviously everyone does to a certain extent, kind of get inspiration from other artists and stuff like that. But was there any kind of DJs in particular that you saw and thought, I want to do that like him?
It would probably just be that DJ Rectangle tape that I heard when I was like. It must have been about 15 or so, and I've still got the tape actually. I dug it out the other day. It's called the mixtape is called Ill Rated. DJ Rectangle Ill Rated. If you want to listen to it, that shit just blew my mind, man.
Well, I'm gonna make a note of that now.
But yeah, that was the one that really like blew my mind. And then I used to get into like the DJ championships, and I would get like, the nerdy side of it, like Craze and A-Track and all that shit, and they're like strumming elastic bands over it. I think that's when I kind of lost interest a bit, when it was getting like super like weird and quirky, where they're like strumming elastic bands over their decks. But yeah, I used to get into like all the juggling and spinning around, doing it with your feet and your chin and all that shit. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I never really.
That's crazy though, man. I mean, that's like an art in itself. And when you were kind of touring with the OWLS, doing kind of shows and stuff, did they ever give you like that kind of 2 minutes to just kind of showcase your skills, do some, because like a lot of
people, that is actually. No, go on. Sorry.
No. You carry on, man.
That is something that I should do, but I've just never really bothered to do it. We've always it's just like we'll play the songs, and as soon as one's over, we'll just run it straight to the next one, or there'll be a bit of banter and shit. I'm not doing, but I'll cut a bit over the choruses, but
yeah, man. Put your foot down, man. Just say, no, this is my time. This is my time to shine.
You could be like the drummer in the band that does like a 5-minute solo, but like a scratch solo or something. Man.
Well, no, actually, you know what? Because I play a couple of tunes before they go on, so I should get a little routine down for pre-show.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Oh man, that's crazy. All right, so besides the 4 OWLS, obviously, is there anyone in the UK scene at the moment who you're rating or listening to in particularly?
Ooh, I love Ono Capono. He's always on point, man.
Yes.
I mean, Ocean Wisdom, his first album blew my mind, man. I mean, I listened to Jam Baxter obviously is like, Jam Baxter is probably my favourite UK rapper, if not rapper of all time, man. He's just had my attention from day one, man. Absolutely day one. I mean, I remember the first time I met him was round at Xander's house, Flip Tricks' house in, I think it was Brighton or maybe even Bournemouth. But the first time I met him, and Xander was like, "Yeah, we're going to do a show with this guy," and I was like, I wasn't taken with him at all. I was just like, what? Who's this guy? Because me and Xander have been doing shows like forever, or like 5 years at this point. He was like, "Yeah, I want to get this guy Jan Baxter involved." I'm like, "Who? Who the fuck is Jan Baxter?" And then he dropped. Like, I was just like, really wasn't taken with him at all. But then like I saw what he was capable of. I was just like, holy shit! Like Baxter is just a beast. Like, and then he did. In fact, I think the first ever album on High Focus was Rinse Out Friday, Spack Out Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like it just blew my mind, man. That album was just incredible. From that moment on, I was just like the biggest Baxter fan, man. So yeah, I'll just literally just take anything Baxter can throw at me, like 100%.
Yeah, the Gruesome Features was for me.
Yeah.
That was banging, man.
Yeah,
it's so like gully as well, and it's gully as well. It's like, you know, the production's a little bit kind of like gritty and a little bit kind of raw and mixtapey vibe to it as well. But I love it.
You're right. Gruesome Features is the one, man. That's definitely one of my favourites.
Do you know how come Contact Play never did another album?
Because they're all a bunch of fucking mongs, basically. I don't know. I think there might be a little something in the works. You never know. You might get your wish. I can't say too much, but yeah, I mean, they're all so busy. I mean, Mr. Key lives out in like fucking Spain or Mexico or some shit. Baxter's off doing whatever the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all got such different lives now. I mean, they've all still got a foot in music, especially, you know, Baxter and Dyke and Bosch. And Scissor Tongue, of course, as well. But, you know, I mean, he's got a lot more kind of experimental. Yeah, but, you know, the love. You know, they're brothers. Those guys, man. You know, they're never going to. You know, there might be a little something in the works. I've heard whispers.
So they've had like bits come out. I mean, obviously that Baxter and Ed Scissor Laminated Cakes project that dropped a few years back. That was kind of like obviously more experimental, but it's good to see them kind of collaborate. And
yeah, definitely
that project in particular was so kind of off key and I mean, experimental is fairly like synonymous with Baxter anyway, and Ed Scissor, as you say.
Yeah.
But Ed Scissor was always the one who you thought from the kind of outset he was going to kind of go on to more, I guess, kind of ethereal, like cerebral hip hop. It's hard to define. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. He's had a bit of a break, hasn't he? Like I don't know what he's been up to.
Yeah, he's got married. He's had a baby. You know, he's just kind of, you know, I think he's still making music, just not, you know, he's working with other labels, or another label, I think. I can't remember which one. But, you know, because he's so experimental, you know, he's you know, I'm sure Xander would have it back in a heartbeat, you know, if he ever wanted to release something on High Focus. But I think what he thinks the music he's making isn't suitable for High Focus.
Makes sense. No, makes sense, man. I mean, it's kind of as an artist as well. It's just it's being true to what your vision is, I guess, and you have to stick to that.
But High Focus are heading in more of an experimental way, aren't they? With that, is it Telemachus?
Telemachus, yeah.
Telemachus.
Yeah. So basically, Telemachus is that's Chemo. So he has produced like
Chemo's legend, man.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Telemachus. That's Telemachus, basically. That is Chemo.
Yeah, he's behind so many classic UK projects.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's mixed and mastered pretty much I think not every, but the majority of High Focus releases. He's had his little greasy fingers on it and twiddled the knobs for that. But yeah, now he's him and Baxter is like the dream team for me. Baxter spitting and Chemo on the buttons is just like my perfect
combination.
Name a more iconic duo.
do you think that's kind of obviously with the UK hip hop being UK being small anyway generally, and it's kind of amazing you being kind of a really kind of immersed in the scene yourself and knowing all of these people, and they're all so talented. And if you think of them, they're kind of counterparts in the US who aren't as kind of. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, do you ever feel like, wow, I'm like literally friends with some of the greatest rappers in this country?
Yeah, it is weird. I remember having a moment where like we were just having a show. We had a show with like Chester. It was Task Force basically. It was like one of their last ever shows. This was years ago, And I remember thinking, like, we were just backstage, just like chilling with them. And I used to look up to them, you know, when I was like, you know, 19, 20, that I used to like worship Task Force.
Yeah, man.
And then I was just like sitting there chatting to Farmer G on a sofa backstage. And I was just thinking, like, these guys are my peers now. Like, we're on the same level now. It's fucking weird. Yeah, yeah. And like, you know, like I'm friends with these people now. Like, you know, like Jest and Farmer G and shit. And it's like, it's that blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah, man. I think that's obviously with the UK being as small as it is, and the scene being relatively small, in kind of the broad scheme of music, you know. So that's a good thing, man. It's good that it has that kind of tight knit feel. Yeah,
absolutely. And even like when we do shows, and after show, people are just like going mental to like get us to sign shit or like just say what's up or like shake a hand. And it's just like, even that blows my mind. So I mean, even that is just like, why do you want to fucking talk to me? I'm a fucking dickhead.
Oh man, that's crazy, man. Has your like wife ever been to your shows before?
Yeah, she's been to a few, man. Yeah, in the early days.
Does she understand like the hype now? Is she kind of like, you know, the whole hip hop thing?
And... Yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh, cool. No. I mean, she's not disproving at all. No, she's never disproving, because she's a dancer or was a dancer, and she does like movement direction now. So she's she understands that you've got to get out there and be creative, basically, and perform. You know, she understands how important performance is.
Oh, 100%. And that's always important, man. That's good that you got the full support there.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very grateful.
Who allows you to go swanning off around the world as well, man. That's good. I'll rate that. So, man, right, so here's a hypothetical for you. Your Wi-Fi goes down. You only have access to one record and one DVD. What are they and why?
I'll probably start with the DVD, and that would be Blues Brothers, because that my dad let me and my brother watch that, despite all the swearing and ridiculousness in that film. My dad let me and my brother watch that when we were like 5 years old, which is way too young to be watching a film like that. And that film literally like shaped my like taste in music. I mean, like, I was so like into like soul and blues and rock from that, like just from watching that film as a young kid. I used to know it. I used to like watch it. You know, when kids like will watch like a film like 1,000 times in a row, like every day. Me and my brother, we used to literally watch Blues Brothers every single day for like 3 or 4 years or some shit. So I know that film like inside out, and like the songs in that film just like really, really shaped my musical like upbringing. So I was like mad into like soul and blues as a youngster, and then kind of discovered like, you know, how it evolved into hip hop basically, and then I was going to take it with that. But yeah, I think Blues Brothers, just purely for the music and and the ridiculous story.
Yeah, R.I.P. John Belushi, man.
Yeah.
Legends. No, that's great. I haven't seen that in so long. I need to revisit it.
Yeah, I probably haven't watched it in about 3 or 4 years, but I could literally say it word for word if it was on now. Easily.
Carrie Fisher was in that as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's been probably over a decade. I haven't seen that in a very, very long time. But John Landis directed that.
Yeah. Did he do Home Alone as well?
No, that was that John Hughes who did?
Oh, John Hughes.
Or was it Chris Columbus who did it?
Didn't he discover America?
Not Christopher Columbus, Chris Columbus. Yeah. Directed by Chris Columbus and produced by John Hughes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, classic kind of like pivotal 90s film.
I'm just keeping quiet here because I haven't actually seen it, and I feel
haven't seen Home Alone?
Oh no! I thought you were talking about Blues Brothers.
Oh, Blues Brothers, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Mate, you've got to watch Blues Brothers, mate. Honestly, watch Blues Brothers. It's fucking brilliant, mate. It's so good.
I'll give that one. No, I watched. Speaking of like the Warriors that you said earlier, I watched that the other day actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in years actually.
That's such a good film.
What's the guy called in the Warriors? He's also in Twin Peaks and The Crow, and he's the guy who's. He's the guy who shouts he's the one who shouts the line, you know, Warriors.
I couldn't tell you his name.
That's gonna wind me up. I need to fact check that shit.
Album. This is a tough one, man. You can't. God, I've got there's like three that I just couldn't. I literally can't live without. I got the 10, right? That's 10, right?
That wasn't part of the rules.
Ready to Die, obviously, for obvious reasons. Just it's fucking just banger after banger. And I mean, that album literally changed my life. When
I listened to that today. Do
you
know what I mean? It's one of those albums that's just on constant rotation.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Funk, just
that's
like
fun, man. Yeah.
Oh, it's classic.
That have you seen? You know, Lahane. Where have you seen that? You must have seen Lahane. Yeah. You know the scene where he just does that mix of like Sound of Police, Machine Gun Funk, and Edith Piaf as well, and it's just like works so well, man. Sorry, anyway.
Ready to Die, Capital Punishment. Just because I'm a massive pun fan.
The heavyweights, the big boys.
Yeah. like a fat rapper. And third one would have to be Beats, Rhymes and Life by Tribe Called Quest, which is it's a bit of an underdog as far as Tribe Called Quest albums go. It's not the usual favourite, but yeah, that one just did it for me, man. I remember listening to it when I was about 16, and I was just so taken with it. And it just every time I listen to it, it just takes me back to like summer 97, or it's probably around then, summer 96, 97. And I just listen to that album relentlessly with my mates, like just smoking weed, and it just takes me straight back, man, every time I hear that.
That's music, though, isn't it? It is kind of like a time capsule.
Yeah. The way it evokes, it can just so evocative of like
man,
good times, man.
For sure, that's what the 4 hours record does for me, man. It takes me back to like it takes me back because that came out when I was in college.
Okay.
It came out when I was in college, man, and that's like the song that me and my friend used to just bump when we were just like driving around and blazing and stuff, man. So that's the proper for every time I listen to that record, man, it just takes me back to those days.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I listen to the 4 hours, like if it ever comes on just like randomly, I get like PTSD from shows.
What, especially the time where your laptop wouldn't load, you're like
No, but like, and also if I drink like certain drinks, because we always have like certain drinks on the ride, there's always like a bottle of we always used to have rum or gin, and now whenever I have rum or gin, I'm just like, oh shit, what's happening? I'm at a show. I get like flashbacks and shit. It's really weird.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, it's weird, man. How like your memory can do that.
Any standout tracks from those albums that you just spoke about?
I mean, it'll probably be Machine
classics.
Machine Gun Funk, off Ready to Die, Twins Deep Cover, Capital Punishment, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I couldn't choose off a Tribe Called Quest album. Just maybe Jam.
Yeah, Jam. I mean, that whole album is levels, man. I mean, I think the Low End Theory just like edges it for me. Yeah, exactly. But again, it's my own experience and where I was when I came into it. Do you know what I mean? Exactly.
I think I just happened to not listen to Low End Theory to start with. I started on Beats, Rhymes and Life. That was like my introduction to Tribe Called Quest. So I was like, that's the one I held in like the highest regard. But it's funny because I don't really hear anyone else say Beats, Rhymes and Life is their favorite Tribe album, where it's just like I can't think of like a better album, basically.
Yeah, man. It's funny that you with like Twins, a Deep Cover.
Yeah, mate, that song is just like fucking hell, mate. It's incredible.
It's like if you're making a playlist titled Bangers, that goes to the top. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, what track is like synonymous with banging boom bap? You're just like Twins, Deep Cover, Fat Joe, Big Pun, done. It's just incredible, man.
Yeah. And Fat Joe he's the best collab. Like actually in The Enemy, Big L and Fat Joe. Fuck. That song slaps so hard, bruv. Literally, I could put that on any time of day, and I'm just like, oh my god, just like
DITC, man. DITC are sick. Like they're so like they're often overlooked, but they're absolutely incredible, man. Big L.
The Enemy song is just, oh my god. I love Fat Joe, man. Fat Joe's a done, man.
Yeah, man. Joe. I mean, like Jealous One's Envy was a fucking sick album. It's early stuff. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people kind of dismiss him because, like, obviously at that time in like the early 2000s, like the not the best time for hip hop. I'd probably say. Lean Back. It was like Scott Storch and stuff, and it was like a good song when it was like in the club and stuff. But it was a very kind of commercially sounding party tune. But then you listened to his early stuff, and you're like, oh shit, this guy could.
He can rap, man. He can rap.
He's not fat anymore. It's not the same.
It's just Joe.
Yeah, it's just
someone's already called Joe though. So.
Yeah, the R&B singer.
Yeah.
Man. Oh man, that's crazy. So Madnice, man. Before we wrap things up, is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Oh shit!
Anything you want to talk about?
I should have thought of this. Not really. Just want to say, thanks to you guys, man, for doing the podcast, man. I'm a big fan. It's a good thing. I mean, I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I was just like, no, you guys are just doing it. I'm like, oh shit, I missed the boat.
Oh man, mate, just anytime, man. Anytime we'll link up and record another one whenever, mate. We're about now, and I mean, if this is going to be life for the foreseeable future, then Skype is the way forward.
Yeah,
you know
I'm definitely up coming on again, man. But yeah, no, I just want to say peace to my OWL brothers, and everyone listening, man. Peace.
Big up, man. And where can people find you on socials?
I am at Madnice, MADNICE on Instagram, and DJ Madnice on Twitter.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, Thank you very much. Aidan, where can you find us, man?
You can find us on all streaming platforms, man. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, everything. We're there. Go like, subscribe, follow.
Wicked.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you for having me, man.
Madnice. Been a pleasure, man. Stay safe.
Cool.
Peace.
See you in a bit, bro.